Hello and welcome to Khyber Shards, a 5th edition actual play show set in the Eberron campaign world. Listen, there was no way to segue from that conversation.
That's wild. That's wild.
There's no way I was going to segue from that conversation.
That's crazy. Okay.
Eric, what happened last time?
We had a day off, so we putzed around the mansion, talked to River, had some other conversations. Nothing crazy, nothing big. Just had some downtime, which great.
Huzzah! So y'all have some days of downtime in which Thora is taking
meetings.
meetings.
Of things I want to do.
Cool. Sometimes she's taking one or more of you with her to the meetings, but it's a lot of haggling over the things that you guys, discussed with the various Stormlords. Probably not at all important, but since you see Swords of Karn regularly, that the presence of the Emerald Claw in the city has reduced substantially in the last few days. That's probably not related to anything.
No.
But the upside of all this is that as negotiations around the possibility of Thora's elevation to Stormlord proceeds, the city is readying, in spite of the damage done by the earthquake, is readying for the celebration of the holiday of Burning Titan, which, yes, in fact, is just Stormreach Burning Man. A traditional end of winter holiday in which a huge giant is made of driftwood on the cliffs overlooking Stormreach, and then at dusk on the day of is set aflame, and parties go on for pretty much an entire week. People are given off. Work stops on most things. Most businesses close down. Various organizations provide entertainment and food throughout the festival. Lots of games and events are held, and it's just generally a good time in the city. So this has begun building over the last few days. People have been going up to the cliffs, hauling driftwood up from the beaches, and have started construction on this huge wooden giant. And tonight at sunset is the lighting of the Titan, and the beginning of the revels that will go on for a few days. What have you guys been doing for a few days? You guys have a few days to relax and recover from your various travails. What are you all up to, other than, if Thora needs you, being available, or maybe not being available? I don't know how you guys are doing.
Pog's probably helping set up for the festivities. I can't imagine that the Sword and Sheath wouldn't try to have some kind of a presence there, so he'd be out helping unload the carts full of all of the extra amenities that are required to host a bunch of fantasy ravers. So
I just tell you how much it delights me to have a level 12 adventuring character who still works his day job.
That's him with like, my immediate thought is like, Colin would love this. Pog's probably gonna be asked to do overtime, realistically. Mm-hmm. Like that's the way this is gonna go. I can't keep my real life from bleeding over. So yeah, probably. But there's still that obligation there. So yeah, he's gonna be helping out and hanging with Solarka in the other, because it's been kind of go.
Yeah. About Shade and Ari.
Shade would attend anything that Thora would allow her to attend in terms of meetings. She is really struggling to follow politics and how this works, and so any opportunity that she could take to get more information and try to understand it better, she's gonna take. Outside of attending those meetings, she would offer help. I don't know if they would take it, but she would offer help to Harish, who's, you know, poor ship's cat that is all outdoors now.
Al fresco.
She just needs some of those umbrellas. Yeah. It'd be bistro style.
I mean, she's got Entangle, right? So she can just weave
making umbrellas out of vines.
Yes.
That's amazing.
I love it. That's great.
That's hilarious.
What about Ari?
Ari, you know, if there's some downtime when Thor is taking some of the meetings, he would go. But Ari is going to try to spend the next couple days leading up to the festivities, hoping that people are a bit more, you know, open to having chats. He would like to start having conversations with the three big ones are, and we don't need to role play all of them. These are just people he's been wanting to talk to. Drago, Lady Tavine, and Dragonhawk. About
Lady Tavine, that is Thora.
Oh, sorry. Lady Terrace. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. About safety in their districts, like what basically City Watch isn't that great, especially outside of the district that Amanatu is in. So maybe it's
great in that district.
Yeah. Basically trying to see if there's any threads to be pulled on in terms of getting their respective groups more involved in their respective communities and building up a bit more of a presence of grassroots support.
Neighborhood watch.
Yes, like, and a little bit of sprinkling of like, not outright dissent against the idea of Stormlords, but definitely a little bit of that, of like, what have they done for us lately kind of thing. So a social club, just friends talking, you know. But those would be the three people he starts with, just because he's already kind of had that conversation with Steeljack a little bit. And he has, in Ari's estimation, at least a slightly positive, like on that side of the spectrum with those two.
Sure.
So
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I tell you what, would you just make me a diplomacy or a persuasion check? It's not called diplomacy anymore. It hasn't been called diplomacy in a long time. But, you know.
Sure. Have we had a long rest?
Oh, yes. Down on hit points. Goodness, yes.
25.
You must have pushed a lot. I was like, what would you be down on hit points from? You avoided all possible combat in that set.
I think I like triple pushed on a single roll or something.
Oh, that's right. I do remember that. Yeah, and then you got thrown into a wall.
Yes.
Very good. I will say Drago and Taurus are probably the most immediately engaged because this is sort of what they do already. And of the two of them, Drago is much more political. Taurus and her knights patrol their streets because they see it as a duty. They have some political agenda, but it's mostly not in Stormreach. But Drago, you know, to be a a political thinker and have his own agenda. And so he's probably the most in alignment with you on this, just this concept of taking ownership of it, regardless of the City Watch, which he largely discounts as a bunch of costume amateurs anyway.
One tactic that Ari would want to take with Lady Terrace especially, but with all of them, is even outside of protection of like patrolling the streets, of like more community outreach, like asking how many people in their district would they classify as poor, how much would it cost to set up some kind of like meal program, like stuff like that, to really get people to appreciate what the gangs in the city are doing for them, that kind of thing. So
cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And is Dragonhawk on board, or just fine, or...
Dragonhawk they're happy to talk to you about these things, and they're very interested in everything you have to say and pay very close attention to everything you have to say. But as you kind of already know to a certain extent, the Dragonhawk is an agent of sorts, and not really here for Stormreach.
I guess then Ari would try to get a lead on who would be a better person in the Nine Wands to talk to.
They definitely present themselves as the only person to talk to in the Ninth Wands.
Yeah.
As the person to talk to in the Ninth Wands.
Great. Great.
And I mean, would Ari attempt to? I mean, the Dragonhawk does not attempt to prevent you from talking to anyone else in the Ninth Wands, or anything like that. So, would Ari attempt to reach towards others in the Ninth Wands?
Probably. Like, if he feels like the Dragonhawk doesn't really have much skin in the game in terms of Stormreach being better and like moving towards where Ari wants things to go, and it doesn't seem like the Dragonhawk is going to be mortally offended by it, then yeah, Ari would kind of ask around to see who has a bit more of a vested interest in Stormreach as a whole.
I would love either a insight or investigation check from you.
That's going to be investigation.
For sure insight, right?
I'm going to push. I'm going to push one more time to see if I can get anything a little bit better, but
nothing like pushing for the same result, right?
Yeah, it's an identical result. There we go. 19.
You notice that you get kind of the same vibe off of all of them, that they're very interested in what you're saying and paying very close attention, and taking some mental notes. But with that investigation score, you begin to get the impression that it's not just the Dragonhawk, but that perhaps the Ninth Wands are an agency of Ondare, and not as much a militia or gang as they might present themselves as.
Okie dokie. Sounds like there's a district of the city that needs some.
That
I'm
is
so
a
sorry.
direction you could take.
What word are you saying? The ninth?
Wands.
Okay.
Random
Thank
Latin
you
phrase.
So much.
Nailed it.
I don't know any
I think
of
we were
them.
saying the ninth
they're all
wands.
Latin. I know it's just whatever you want to happen in Latin. Like that's all it is. It's just you ask for what you want in Latin. People in ancient Rome must have been casting magic constantly.
What a time. HBO really got it wrong on that series.
Right? Yeah, people are saying Latin things all the time and no magic happens at all. Anyway. Very good. So the day before the Titan is set on fire, Pog, Thora calls you to her office.
Ooh.
Stop it. We've all had to go. Yes, ma'am.
That's definitely what all the students do. I can totally see all the students.
Knock it off. 15 more push-ups.
You asked me to look into something for you.
Yes, ma'am.
And I have some information. It may not be as much as you'd like, but it's what I've been able to find out.
Oh, okay. And Pog sits, which he doesn't normally do in her office.
I can't find any way to come to a conclusion that your father wouldn't have known about the Blackwheel program. He's too well placed in the house to be in the dark about that program's existence. That being said, I can't find any evidence that links him directly to its administration. And so I can't say one way or another whether he knew that you were enrolled in the program. But certainly he knew the program existed, and he must have known what it was for.
I don't know if that's disappointing or not. I don't know if that's exciting or not.
I don't know either.
Do you know where he was when what happened? Could he have gotten, is he important to them enough that he could have gotten me instead of Blackwheel?
When you were taken into the program, or when the program was ended?
Yes, when I was put in. When my mom.
If the house connected you to your father, then yes, they could have informed. I don't know whether they did. I don't have access to their internal communications, but if they were able to connect you to him, then they certainly could have. And based on my experience of the houses, if they did connect you to him, they would have.
So you don't know it, but if you guessed, you guess he didn't know.
How likely do you think you are? How do you think it is that they would have been able to connect you to your father when you came in?
Not very.
Then, unless he was receiving updates on the program, he probably wouldn't have had any reason. Or from the job he was doing during the last years of the war, he wouldn't have had any reason to specifically look at a role of the students. So unless someone knew who you were and informed him, or unless he took an interest in the program more than just being aware of it, then I don't see how he would have just happened upon the information that you were there. He certainly knew what the program was, and he would have known what was to be done with the program.
I appreciate you looking things up for me and finding answers. So I guess I'll just hate him for her then. It's probably the middle amount of hate. That should be easiest.
Do you want to tell me what happened?
With her?
With any of it?
Me. When my mark arrived, I set our house on fire. And she didn't get out. And then I was sent to Blackwheel. I thought maybe he knew, and that's why they didn't just kill me. But it doesn't make it any better for him to let me go, or for him to have not cared enough to know for her.
Couplings between folk of different marks are one of the only predictable ways to produce an aberrant mark. And so they're quite strongly discouraged. It doesn't make it any better, but I imagine that your father staying away was due to that. He would never have maintained his position if you were generally known about, which makes it less likely that the program identified you as his child. He'd almost certainly lost his position, wouldn't be here now, if House Deneth had put that together.
Do you think they would have killed him?
No.
Then I don't care.
No, certainly not. Sometimes it can be as serious as being cast out of the organization of the house entirely. A process they call excoriation. More often, just puts a ceiling on how high you can go.
All of us here have to deal with other people's consequences from the time that we were born.
Yes?
So I don't care.
Nor should you. If he
I don't
abandoned
mean
you
to
to
be
save
rude
his
to your
career.
explanation, but
I'm not offering you excuses. I'm not going to make excuses for your father. And I'm telling you how it is and why he might have done what he done. Whether that makes it better or worse, I don't know.
not better.
No.
Not for sure worse.
Letting him live rent-free inside your head doesn't make it any better either. If If you need to do something about this, we can certainly discuss what that is. But if your plan is just to write him off as the non-entity that he's been in your life all along, then you're better off doing it completely.
I thought I had. I really did. But I don't know if it's right or if it's wrong. But someone who does something should know it was done.
Yes?
I don't know if I can let go of all of my hate that I found for him if I don't give it to him. Because I don't know what else to do with it.
If you need to do that, I understand. I am not going to... I'm not going to stand in the way of however you want to handle this. But there are dangers if you intend this to be handled aggressively.
I know what you're not saying. And it's a really hard thing to kill a parent on accident. I don't want to do it on purpose to the other one.
Good. It doesn't improve things.
If I'm not going to have any of my family of my blood, I want to choose that. I want him to know me before I turn from him.
I understand.
I'd like to meet with him.
That is probably best achievable by finding him out in the open. You could probably deceive your way in, feigning as looking to sign up as a mercenary. They like the look of you, and they do a lot of mercenary contracting. If you cover your mark, you might be able to talk your way in on that basis. I don't know how easily you'd meet with him himself. You could talk your way into their compound that way. Lady Amorin has a good relationship with House Dinnith and might be able to advise you on how to acquire a meeting with him. Or, as I say, you might be easiest if you can catch him out and about. It might be hard to arrange a meeting with him knowing.
I know you have a lot going on right now. And big decisions happening all over the city for you. I won't try to do anything until all of that is done.
I'm not really counting on the support of House Dinnith. So if you irritate House Dinnith, that won't greatly alter their opinion of me. I just needed to know if you were going to injure a high-ranking member of House Dinnith, because that I might need to help you arrange so that it's less public.
I definitely won't kill him.
For both convenience and for your safety, if you think you're likely to assault him in the course of this, doing it in their compound was a very bad idea. And I would appreciate if you would let me know. And I'll help you arrange a time and a place where the consequences of that will be minimized.
I really wish I could say I didn't want to hit him in the face, but I really do.
I'd be surprised if you didn't. But if you think you're likely to,
We should
then
plan on me punching him in the face, I think.
understandable. Okay. Well, I'll work on... We'll need to work on finding out something of his habits and finding where you can find him more or less alone.
Thank you, Thora. Miss
course.
Thora.
All right, Paul. Shade. Over at Harish's. There's work going on. You were there. At least a couple of the kids are definitely there, like helping reassemble things where they can. Donnabella's taking great joy in lifting things with her telekinesis into proper position as the sort of repairs continue. But you've been hanging around for a bit, helping, and Harish, as she continues to serve from the restaurant bar, says, "So when are you going to tell me about Cal's wings?"
Mm-hmm.
I guess now, is that good?
Of course.
He was awarded wings by the Forest Queen, and now he flies. Is there more that you want to know about?
You went back into the You went back into the Feywild.
We did. It was very unplanned, but it ended up very wonderfully.
Last time you went on one of these journeys, you seemed discouraged by the outcome.
Oh no, it was awful last time. But this time, I let my friends make their own choices, and they are alive and didn't die and then have to come back later. And Cal got wings.
That's
so
wonderful.
really the most successful trip we've had so far.
Good. How are things at your school?
I think good. I am much better at going on adventures than I am at doing my job at the school. So I think good. Yeah, good.
I'm glad.
I'll have to ask Thora when I get home.
Ask for a performance review. I am glad to hear that. And I am glad that you are feeling better about your choices than before.
Thank you. That's hard. Yeah, making choices and then being okay with what happens.
Yes.
So how is business with the, destruction?
Not very good. There are a lot of people who don't have their livelihoods back at the moment. And so restaurant eating is not within everyone's budget at the moment.
Right. But it also seems like if your kitchen is destroyed, you would have to go out to eat.
Yes. Many people, Shade, cannot simply go and find themselves a meal in the wild.
That's why they should take my class.
Do you offer that class to adults?
She gets out her paper where she keeps her power notes and is starting to write down the questions she needs to ask Thora when she gets home. I don't know. Is it just students or are my classes open to any? I will ask Thora that too.
You can also teach people outside of school if you wanted to.
But then I would have to find them. And I would much prefer that they just show up where I want them to show up at the time I want them to be there and do what I tell them.
You could put up signs. Foraging lessons. 9 o'clock.
And then they would have
Tuesdays.
To find me in the woods and we can see their level by whether or not they get to me. That's such a good idea, Harish.
That's good.
Great idea, Harish.
Limit your clientele.
Right. But then I would only work with the ones I wanted to work with.
When you work for yourself, you actually already only have to work with the people that you want to work with. If someone shows up for a class at a place that they can find, and you don't want to work with them, no one can make you.
That's a great point. Yeah. Yeah.
In the same way that people offer harp lessons.
Is that a thing that people offer?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I don't play the harp or instruments.
No. But you have a skill, and if you wanted to share it with people, even for pay, you could advertise for yourself.
That's true.
As you used to when you were a jungle guide.
Right. Thought about doing that more, but I don't know. The jungle, it's just not for everybody.
That is very true.
Even if they have a guide.
Some people are very incapable in the wild.
That is very true. Yeah. I'm sure you run into that all the time. There's lots of people that can't cook. So, I mean,
yes.
Thank goodness you can.
I have a skill, and it is not one that everyone has. And not everyone has the time, and and not everyone has the desire to cook, even if they can. So I hear rumors that your Lady Tavine might be rising in power.
Wouldn't that be great?
I don't know, would it?
Yeah.
Oh.
She is very fair and very good at knowing what is good. And she's also very smart. She explains a lot of things to us a lot of the time.
Excellent. Yeah.
So I'm still figuring this out, but like if you have a say or if anybody listens to what you think, I listen to what you think. I think it's very important. But you should also want Thora to be up there.
I think that no one who gets to make the decision is likely to ask me.
Got it. They should, though.
That is not the opinion of most of the Stormlords.
That's what Ari's saying.
Yeah, I don't
Ari's having a little
them.
anarchist book club over in the corner.
Just a social club. Just some friends getting together.
I believe man need not be ruled.
I'm just loving that visual. And if you turn to page 32...
And someone in the corner going, "You can't tell me to."
Okay. Take it down, Greg.
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 Well, we should get over to the cliff tops if we are going to be there for the lighting. Would you help me carry these things?
I'd be happy to.
And so you and Harish begin hauling the things for her, essentially, booth over towards the cliff tops. Pog and Ari would also be making their way there. I assume Ari is not going to miss a large festivity.
No,
of
I'm at
any kind.
previous years.
If he's
Ari
not
probably
already
went-
there.
Ari probably went hard at this in previous years. Yeah.
Yes. So the sun is starting to go down as the three of you and others. Mrs. Brightdoom would be along with the school kids.
You related this to Burning Man, so I was not ready for a bunch of elementary kids to just
This is the
be
whole
like
city. The whole city does this.
line. Like there's a line
There's not
leader
a-
getting the kids to the rave.
This is the whole city. It goes late, so I mean, kids are probably not out all night. But
Have you met these kids?
fair. Yes. Pretty much everybody participates in this in some capacity. Obviously, not the entire city can fit up on the bluff, and so there's a lot of people down in the harbor looking up at the giant wooden Titan on the cliff above. Lots of food vendors and whatnot in the harbor. Due to all the politicking, Thora almost certainly has access up on the cliff top and is moving amongst the Stormlords. Where would you guys be? Would you guys be up there taking advantage of that sort of exclusive through your connection to a candidate for the Stormlord, or would you be down?
Not unless she
in the
asked for
harbor.
security. Pog would be with Solarka.
I
Maybe with
imagine
the group, but
Ari probably has like at least a couple like burning Titan friends. Like they don't see each other any other time. But when this time of year, it's like,
Amazing.
hey, like
It's Greg. Greg is that friend.
So Ari would probably go to like go into like with the people and try to find them and invite Shade, Pog, and Slarka to come along if they want. But yeah.
Excellent. So the party is going early in the afternoon and throughout the day. As the sun starts to get low, and excitement starts to build, people start to call, and you guys would be aware of this as something that happened. But people start to call out for entrance, people who are entering the rubble race. So there's an event that happens. This is something that happens lots of times. It's kind of a thing that happens in Stormreach around big occasions as part of the festivities, where a race course will be set out across some of the chunks of floating debris that orbit around in the sky above Stormreach, and people will race across it as part of events. And so as the sun starts to go down, people would start calling for people who are going to enter that. And so the question is then, of course,
Yes.
would any of you
Yep.
other than Pog, would any of you be inclined to enter into the rubble race? Basically, the rubble race is a race combined with the floor is lava. Like you can't touch the ground.
Okay.
You have to stay on the floating rubble, and get from one end of the course to the other, and you can't just fly.
Okay.
So if you have the capacity for flight, you can't just skip the race aspect of it by flying.
Is there any like danger to it, or is it pretty?
You can
Like, is
fall.
Yeah, but is it
This one is
Mad Max or like
Oh.
like
not to a lethal extent. Like people aren't supposed to be trying
Gotcha.
to cause injury to one another, but people will try to screw each other up. There's
Okay.
It's definitely a full a contact sport, but you're not supposed to like attack people with weapons or anything like that. You can use magic, but you cannot just fly.
Gotcha.
And of course, there's the danger of falling. In this case, you would fall into the harbor, and so it's slightly less dangerous than some of the other occasions where this
Well,
event is held,
depends on what's in the
depending
water,
on your
but-
feelings about the harbor.
The water's not the best.
Ari would look at Shade and be like, "You want to do it?"
Yes.
Yeah.
We're trying to be more visible. That's why we
Yeah.
stayed, right?
Right.
So,
Be fun.
Okay.
I mean, I like
s-
beating up people, so
And I like
So
winning stuff.
a course is laid off that across the portions of floating rubble above the harbor. It's rises and falls at various elevations, and the starting point is up on the cliffs, about 15 feet above the first piece of rubble. And so a bunch of people are gathering up on the cliffs, getting ready to start the race, and the three of you are among them. As is traditional in the annual games of all kinds, the ever so charismatic Lady Kira Selshadra is master of ceremonies.
The ball of personality that is.
Each of you tell me someone else who's in the race.
Greg.
Okay, Ari's rave friend Greg.
Who takes anarchy way too seriously.
They're nihilists, dude.
He's got one of those
That's-
T-shirts with the circled A.
Greg, that's not what nihilism means. Jesus Christ.
God is dead, man.
That's not what that means either.
And we killed her.
Hold on. Casey, you go first, because I'm trying to pull up the one.
Can I say Ilya is?
Totally.
Rad.
She's going to smoke us. We're going to be so embarrassed when our student absolutely destroys us.
No way. Super proud.
Right.
I'm trying to find it, Philip. It's from before this campaign even began. It's whoever my positive NPC was that has yet to be introduced.
Shoot.
It's in the Discord, isn't it?
She's a cultist.
But wait, ages ago.
Yeah, we've been doing this a
So-
while.
Yeah.
We have.
You'd think I'd be better at this by now.
Lupe,
What's she a
A
cultist of?
a female
Remind me.
human cultist.
Okay.
And she is part of a cult obsessed with the draconic prophecy is what
Oh, right. Okay. Cool.
foretells a time of darkness when a dark prince will rise to rule, brought forth by the traveler. Oh God. That
Oh,
oh, no.
I love it. I've totally forgot about this character. I'm so glad you did this. It's gonna be great. Colin, tell us. You need to give us some vital details about Greg, since you invoked him into the scene.
Yeah, no, I'm all about it. Greg is a gnome.
Excellent.
And
Of course he's a gnome.
he's wearing a robe because it's burning Titan. Gotta be
Worst costume you could wear for this race, Greg. Come on, man.
free for movement.
This is
And
how our
he,
ancestors dressed, man.
Yes, he's a hippie bard, is what he is. He's for sure a hippie bard. You exactly knew where I was going with this.
Is his robe like sort of a poncho?
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
You have described like Greg is just the guy that Ari goes to for drugs. Like he's just Ari's dealer that he tolerates. Like
Okay, you're the one airing Greg out like this right now. That's Greg.
But Greg
Awesome.
thinks that him and Ari are tight.
Yeah.
Right. He keeps
Oh, yeah,
showing up
man.
for these social interactions.
Best friends. Their interactions are just like Punchy from How I Met Your Brother. Greg, all right. See you next year, man.
You ready to show
And-
these fascists, man?
Yeah, sure thing, man. So
They couldn't keep us sober if they wanted to, man.
I gave you the coin, so let's
We're gonna do it together, though, right? Like we're gonna do it together.
got an appointment.
James Franco from Pineapple Express lingers, man, lingers.
And Lupe also, I would imagine, is just another one of Ari's party buddies. Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent.
Unless you had other ideas for the puzzle.
Oh no, that's outstanding. Yeah, I would imagine that cultist of the traveler is a different kind of anarchist.
The crazy kind.
Yeah.
You've made
But the
weird
fun
friends
crazy.
here,
The
Ari.
fun crazy.
It's not
every
like
now-
you
different
only see them
time.
once a year.
every now and again at book club, she's like, "Should we go burn something down?" Joking.
She's like, first rule of book club is you don't talk about book club.
Okay, Lupe, I need to know that you know that the messaging of that book is not aspirational.
Second
it's a warning,
rule of
right?
book club, Ari, is you
Okay,
don't
but-
talk about book club.
Shade can't wait to meet her.
She's just flicking a Zippo.
I don't know whether Eric's gonna regret this, but it's gonna be delightful. Yeah, Lupe definitely wears like a rolled up sleeved denim jacket.
Yeah.
Yep.
And has like spiky hair and a nose ring.
All here for it.
Yes, it's gonna be great. And listen, I'm not mocking that. I'm telling you 100% that I will put any amount of money down that is exactly what my daughter looks like at some point in her life.
And Colin is here for the support for her phases. All
She's
about
gonna love
it, man.
It's gonna be great. Anyway, so Curious holds up a speaking stone that magnifies her voice. Welcome, everyone, to the annual festivity of Burning Titan.
Through a megaphone.
The pause before she starts.
So loud. The discontented.
The annual celebration of our freedom and independence. A joyous time of raucous celebration.
Woo!
Quiet, Greg. We will now begin the festivities with the running of the rubble race. If you are gambling on the outcome, the books will be closed in 1 minute. So place your bets now. Should be a time of great excitement. Always good to see the daring feats of acrobatics that accompany the rubble race. The death-defying aerial stunts. And the occasional fatal plunge. Now everyone, enjoy and Happy New Year to all. And then she touches a rune on the stone and it lets out a thunderclap that startles literally everyone and is the signal for the race to begin.
And that's
so,
where we'll pick up next time.
Accurate.
Like I said, we've been doing this a while.
Thank you all so much for watching. This has been Khyber Shards. New episodes of Khyber Shards come out every Monday. New Khyber Shards answers every Friday. If you want to get in touch with us, you can find links to all of our social media in the description down below, as well as links over to the Geek Pantheon YouTube, where you'll find Eric making lots of different kinds of RPG commentary and discussion content, and a link to Colin's Twitch, where he is Sorry BTR, and you can find him streaming a variety of things occasionally.
Well, what's the O, Philip?
It's a 0, Eric. It's a 0.
Accurate.
Until next time, everyone.
Come on, Greg.
Oh, man, I'm just so happy about these characters. Until next time, thanks for rolling with us.